Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Kristen Fleming, and I am the Education Coordinator for the Alzheimer's Disease Caregiver Support Initiative. We cover 6 counties and have a grant from the New York State Department of Health to provide services for caregivers in those 6 counties. So they are Clinton, Franklin, Essex, Warren, Washington, and Hamilton counties. And we do that through 6 different service areas. So the first one is education and training, like we're doing today. I have a variety of topics that I discuss with caregivers and professionals. We also do care consultations with families. So there's one care navigator for each of the counties that we cover, and they will meet with individual families. Right now we're doing everything over the phone to discuss what their individual needs are, make a care plan, and try to help them any way that we can. We also do support groups. Right now, again, those are happening virtually or telephonically. We do memory cafes, which are social events for caregivers and people with dementia, again, happening virtually. Everything right now is virtual because of the COVID pandemic. The other 2 things we do are respite. So we will actually pay for someone to go into the caregiver's home to give them a little bit of a break. So it's not meant to replace full-time care. It's only so they can get maybe a few hours as they need that, or a weekend away, something like that. So that they still have time to take care of themselves, go to their appointments, get their hair done, visit with friends and family, whatever it is that they would like to do to get a little bit of a break, because we understand the burden of caregiving can be really challenging for a lot of people. And lastly, we have something called Project Lifesaver, which is actually a bracelet that people will wear because people with dementia are at risk for wandering. That's very, very common. And so with this bracelet, it tracks, it submits radio frequency waves. So it's not like GPS, but it sends radio frequency waves. So the sheriff's department in each of our 6 counties partners with us, and they have a wand that they wave to help locate the person should they go missing. And the nice thing about that program, I always like to tell people, is it's actually a nationwide program. So you could be on vacation down in Florida next year, your loved one goes missing, and they would be able to help you locate them, which is an amazing service. So that's a little bit about us. We're also, all of our services, they're totally free. They're open to the public. It's not income-based. So all you need is to be a caregiver of someone with any form of memory loss. We don't require a diagnosis, nothing like that. So it's very easy to participate in our services. And today, I'm here to talk to you about caregiver quality of life and self-care. Let me advance the slide. So I'm going to start off just by talking about some different ways to nurture yourself. So did you know that caregivers are actually more likely to get sick than those who are not caregiving? Caregivers are constantly giving so much time and energy to others that they become exhausted. They're unable to continue at that high level. So it's important for caregivers to take care of themselves so they can take the best care possible of their loved one. It's kind of like the oxygen mask analogy you hear on airplanes. You can't help anyone else until you put on your own oxygen mask first. So 10 quick and easy ways to take care of yourself are eating healthy and making sure you're doing it as part of a routine. That should include drinking 6 to 8 glasses of water a day, talking to your doctor, considering taking a multivitamin, and making sure you're meeting your needs. Exercise doesn't mean that you necessarily need to get out and run a marathon or anything like that, but you should try to do something every day. This could be yoga, stretching, or walking. Getting outside, fresh air and sunlight can refresh the mind and spirit. Even if you can only go out for a short amount of time, still try to. Also, if you're able to, you could just open a window. Making sure you're sleeping. The CDC recommends that adults between the ages of 26 and 64 get 7 to 9 hours of sleep a night. Well, adults over the age of 65 should get 7 to 8 hours of sleep every night. Go to your doctor. This is a big one. A lot of times caregivers get so wrapped up in caring for their loved one, they forget to tend to their own medical needs. So make sure you're getting your checkups regularly. And when something new comes up, like a new symptom, you're getting to your doctor right away and getting it checked out as well. Don't ignore your feelings. Pay attention to your emotions and your feelings. You might want to talk to other family members or friends as needed, or if you need to, see a counselor. Take time for yourself. So use different techniques to allow yourself to de-stress. This could include taking a break and allowing yourself to continue to pursue your hobbies and interests, whether that be quilting or some kind of craft, exercising, whatever it is that you enjoy doing. Read, pray, or meditate. Try to take at least 15 minutes a day to read something uplifting, or if you're religious, take the time to connect with your beliefs. Laugh. This is very important. I love at support groups, we always make jokes and have to laugh about things because it can really uplift yourself. Share stories with your loved one, remember old times, and when possible, laugh at yourself. Just make jokes. And ask for help. This can often be the hardest one of all, as we want to think that we can do everything ourselves. However, asking for help is important. People naturally want to help, but you sometimes have to be the one to ask for it. So sometimes people, your friends and your family, they won't necessarily volunteer to help you, but that's a great way for you to get some away time from home and have them spend time with a friend or a family member so you can get a break. Emotion. So I'm going to talk a lot about some of the different emotions you might be feeling as a caregiver. I think most caregivers relate to most, if not all, of these emotions. Some caregivers go into caregiving by choice. Others have become the default caregiver. Some are eased into the job, and others find themselves there very quickly. There will come a point in time when you start to have feelings about the situation you find yourself in as a caregiver. Some of them might not be positive, and it could be embarrassing to admit to others and to yourself. It doesn't matter if these feelings are good or bad, they're allowed and they're valid and they're important. Don't let others tell you that you shouldn't be feeling the way that you do if you bring them up. Also, your feelings can change from day to day. That's okay too. It's important to deal with all of your feelings, or they will stay under the surface and come out in different ways, such as poor sleep, illness, trouble coping, stress eating, substance abuse, and others. If you're able to express your feelings, then you can work through them and accept them. This can be positive for both you and the person that you're caring for. So you could be feeling ambivalence, which would be the feeling of wanting to caregive and not at the same time. And a way to deal with this is to allow yourself to have both sets of feelings. Neither the good nor the bad will last forever. Anger is a normal part of caregiving, especially when someone needs continuous help every day and may not be accepting of help. And caring for someone with dementia can be especially hard if they're combative or irrational. There's a lot of dementia-related behaviors that can be very frustrating for caregivers. And so it's not always possible to be in perfect control. Sometimes the anger just flips out. You lose your patience. It's important to forgive yourself and try to learn how you experience anger and notice in your body when you're starting to get to the point of anger, and take a time out, go for a walk. Maybe if you have a spouse or a child or somebody else living in the home with you, an adult child, I mean, have them step in for a moment so you can get outside, get a fresh air, get a glass of water, something to help you calm down, take some deep breaths, and then return when you're feeling ready. Anxiety is very common. Feeling like things are totally out of control and you don't know how to bring them back into control, and a lot of worry about what the future might hold. Pay attention to your body. When you're starting to feel anxious, stop. Take a deep breath, keep breathing, and do something that will give you a break from what's happening in the moment, such as reading, having a cup of tea, meditating. Boredom. I love this little guy. He just looks totally unfazed as a baby. Boredom can easily happen, especially with COVID happening right now. A lot of times people are stuck at home. They aren't doing things to meet their own needs. They're not getting away and getting a break. So every day just kind of feels like the same. It bleeds one day into the next. How to cope is to give yourself a break, use a respite, or have a friend or a family member stay with your loved one so you can get a break and do something that is important and meaningful to you. You're tired and stressed. It's hard to stay in control of yourself. This is kind of similar to the anger. Your feelings could change very quickly from good to bad, and something small could set you off and you could become cranky or irritable. So to cope with this, if you find yourself getting cranky, that's a good time to notice, hey, I might need a break. Oftentimes people when they're cranky, they turn to alcohol or junk food to make themselves feel better. Instead, try to get some rest, talk to someone about how you feel, write in a journal. It's very important to use healthy coping strategies rather than turning to some of those other more negative coping strategies like alcohol or junk food. Having to clean up a person who maybe is your parent or your spouse after they're toileting, or having to change an adult diaper or vomit, it can lead to feeling disgusted. It's kind of gross. So maybe the person is eating sloppy, they don't care for their personal appearance. It's hard to get them to want to take a shower or bath or wash their hair or brush their teeth. And so you could feel disgusted by that. And sometimes we think that the person we're caring for might be doing it on purpose. They're choosing not to take a shower. But it's important to remember that they don't have control over their behaviors. And if personal care tasks are too difficult for you, it could be beneficial to hire a home health aide or another family member who's comfortable with doing those tasks to come and help during those times. Embarrassed. This especially happens for caregivers when they're out in public with their loved one and they make inappropriate comments, or like I said before, they refuse to bathe and now smell. And caregivers often will blame themselves for their behaviors of their loved ones and feel like they're at fault and responsible for them. So some caregivers will stop leaving their house altogether, which can be really challenging. That leads to being isolated. Others have little cards they give out to people in public stating, my loved one has dementia and can no longer control his behavior. And that can be a good thing to just hand to people if you see them at the grocery store, or hand to the waitress maybe if you're going out to eat, just so that they're aware of the situation. And then a lot of times people are more compassionate in public. Or you could get help from friends and family, or hire an aide again for when you're going out in public. Fear, similar to what I talked about with the anxiety, thinking about all of the what ifs can keep caregivers from enjoying how things currently are. Caregivers take on a large amount of responsibility and often worry about not just the day-to-day care, but what things could happen. What could happen if my loved one's condition gets worse? What could happen if I get sick? Who's going to take care of my loved one? Financial fear. How are we going to afford the care that my loved one needs? There's a lot of worrying that tends to happen with caregiving. So planning for some of the what ifs so you can have some control. So have a backup plan in place. Find somebody else who'd be willing to take care of your loved one if you couldn't, or make a plan for how you'll handle medical emergencies. Also talk to someone about your fears, as they can help calm you down or help brainstorm some ideas and try to be proactive with you. Frustration is a part of many other feelings. Even with your best effort, sometimes things you do they just don't go right, or you feel like you can't get anything done, or you're tired. If you're tired, you're more likely to get more frustrated. So exercise and sleep can help. And again, take breaks from caregiving to help refresh your energy. And admit to yourself that caregiving is frustrating. It's a hard job, and you're not alone in feeling frustrated if you are a caregiver. Grief is a big one too. Watching the person you're caring for decline is sad. Oftentimes, the caregiver will also grieve for the person and the relationship that they used to have. It's important to grieve the loss that's being experienced, or it could come out as another feeling. People tend to want to avoid the sadness that comes with grief. However, allowing yourself to feel it and know that it's okay can actually help with healing. For some people, creating a ritual or tapping into their religious beliefs can help them feel better with the grief. Guilt is something that comes in many ways for caregivers. They could feel guilty for feeling as though they aren't doing enough or giving the best care to the person they're caring for. They could feel guilty for wanting their job as a caregiver to be over with, or for not liking the person they're caring for at times, or for taking time for themselves, and now they feel selfish for thinking of their own needs before their loved one. It's really important to forgive yourself. It's not possible to be completely perfect all of the time. Nobody's perfect, and you can't be in perfect control of your emotions 24/7 either. Try some positive self-talk and acknowledge that you're human and it isn't possible, and you're doing the best you can. I love this tapping his foot, impatience. When working with a person who doesn't seem to want to cooperate with you, it's very easy to lose your patience. The person with dementia may seem to do things on purpose to get to you, or they're just not moving fast enough, and it might take way longer than you think it should to get ready to go out the door. Slow down, give yourself and the person with dementia a lot of time to complete tasks. Controlling the environment as much as you can will be helpful, but also keep in mind that you can't control everything. As always, forgive yourself. Give yourself some grace. Jealousy. Growing up, you may have been told not to be jealous, and often we don't want to admit that we're feeling this way. However, it can happen. You might be jealous of others who are not caregiving and they're more able to do things they enjoy. You might feel jealous of people who seem to be in better situations than you are. It's okay to admit that you're feeling jealous because life is not fair. Jealousy becomes a problem when we wallow in it and we don't enjoy the things that we do have. Lack of appreciation. Nobody notices what I do until I don't do it. Isn't that the truth? Feelings can often get hurt in caring for someone with dementia, as the person we're caring for doesn't seem to notice all that we're doing for them, nor do they ever thank us. It's true, caregiving is such a thankless job, especially when you're caring for someone with dementia. They're not going to be able to notice or thank you when you do stuff for them. So be your own cheerleader and give yourself a pat on the back. Maybe keep a journal to write down all of the things you do and be proud of yourself for helping out your loved one. Joining a support group or talking to a family member or friend can also help cheer you on as well and find other people who are rooting for you. Loneliness. The longer you care for someone, the more likely you are to become isolated. There's often no one to talk to other than the person with dementia, and they might no longer be able to carry on a conversation. A lot of times we see friends or family members stop trying to reach out to you to get lunch or to do an activity because you're often unavailable. So use respite to take a much needed and deserved break. You could also consider using an adult day program. I do believe, I know they were closed for a long time, but I think they might be starting to open up soon, the adult day programs in our area at least. And that could give you a little bit of a break during the day so that you can spend time with friends and family members or do activities that you enjoy. Caregivers with people with dementia experience a lot of loss. Could be the loss of income, loss of independence, loss of your best friend, loss of your sense of self. It's important to identify your own losses because it's going to be different for everyone. When you understand and identify your loss, you can better think of ways to help yourself grieve it. Resentment. It's not uncommon when we're put in a situation that we don't necessarily choose. Negative feelings can come from when there are others who you feel like should be helping with caregiving and they're not. I hear that all the time at support group. My sister lives down the road and she never comes to visit, or she never helps out with dad. Family dynamics can be difficult. In some cases, having family can help make things easier. However, in others, family could make things more stressful. If you can't get help from those you feel should be helping, try to think of others. Overall, try to think of the good things, as it's easy to forget them when we focus on the negative. Tiredness. Sleep can be tough when you're taking care of a person with dementia. As they go through the disease, they might not be able to sleep through the night anymore. And therefore, neither do you as you try to redirect them back to bed or assist them with bringing them to the bathroom or meeting their needs. Try to put sleep high in your priority list. Lack of sleep can lead to many health issues and affects our day-to-day mood. If you're having difficulty sleeping that's not directly related to caregiving, talk to your doctor. Depression. Now, this is a big one that I want to talk about. Depression is often seen as a sign of weakness. People with symptoms of depression don't describe themselves as being depressed. While researchers are still trying to pinpoint the exact cause of depression, they do know there are contributing factors, which include environmental triggers, some medications, living with serious illness, grief due to losing a loved one, living with someone with serious depression, and other factors. A caregiver who's battling depression could be embarrassed. They could also feel like a failure, that those around them will judge them. There's a big stigma that comes with mental illness. However, depression is very common in those who are caregiving, as it can be a normal reaction to a difficult situation. It's normal to have negative thoughts come and go. However, when the thoughts are leaving you feeling drained, tearful, irritable, it could be a sign of depression. Ignoring these feelings will not make them go away. Some common symptoms are feeling sad, tearful, empty, and hopeless, a change in eating, change in sleep, loss of interest in people or activities that you used to enjoy, feeling numb, an increase in drinking alcohol for some, and trouble thinking, focusing, or planning. Depression is experienced in different ways by everyone. Some people might have the classic sadness and hopeless symptoms that you would expect, but for other people, they might just become very irritable or extremely fatigued. So it's important to note there are other symptoms too. If you feel like you might be experiencing depression, you should treat it as though you would any other illness. That means talk to your doctor about how you're feeling. If using the word depressed makes you feel uncomfortable, try using words to explain how you're feeling. Be sure you include some information that you are caregiving and any other symptoms you could be experiencing. Ignoring your feelings will not make them go away. Often when we are caring for someone else, our feelings and moods can be felt or seen by that person, even if they have dementia. This could be done in your body language, your tone of voice, and the things we say, or just our overall presence. What you say and tell yourself every day will either lift you up or tear you down. I think that is such an important reminder. A lot of times we have thoughts in our minds that we would never say to our best friend or our loved ones. We would never talk to anyone else that way, but you could be saying to yourself, oh, I'm doing such a bad job. I'm a terrible caregiver. I shouldn't be doing this. I should be doing that instead. And it's really important that we tap into what our self-talk is, what we're thinking and saying each day. So that's self-talk in general, is the active practice of talking to oneself either aloud or silently and mentally. And the way we think and look at things can reflect the way that we look at life. Self-talk is the unspoken thoughts in our heads, the things we say out loud to ourselves. Oftentimes, these thoughts are either positive or negative. Some self-talk can come from logic and reason, while others can come from misunderstandings that you can create due to lack of information. If your thoughts are often more negative, your outlook on life tends to be more negative. However, if your thoughts are positive, then you tend to be more optimistic. So here are some examples of negative versus positive self-talk. And you can flip the script a little bit. So you say to yourself, oh, this is so hard. I've never done it before. I can't do it. Instead, you might say, this is an opportunity to learn something new. Or it's too complicated. I can't figure this out. I'll try it from a different angle. There's no way that this will work. I can try to make it work. I'm not going to get any better at this. I'll give it another try. So it's just flipping your language and your tone and how your thoughts are. Having positive self-talk can be beneficial for a person's health in addition to helping with stress levels. Some other health benefits to positive thinking might be an increased lifespan, lower risk of depression, lower stress, better resistance to the common cold, better psychological and physical well-being, better coping skills during hard times. Negative thinkers tend to filter, meaning they only focus on the negative things that happen rather than the positive things. They take things personally, or thinking that bad things that happen to them are because of them, and they automatically prepare for the worst or catastrophize situations, making a mountain out of a molehill. They also tend to polarize things. They only see things as good or bad when there's really a lot of gray area most of the time. So some ways to improve your self-talk if you think you might be a negative self-talker, or you feel like you're more negative than you'd like to be, you can identify the areas to change. Start small by thinking about one area in your life that you tend to have a negative attitude about. Could be work or a certain relationship. Try to approach it in a more positive way. Challenge yourself throughout the day. Stop, engage at what you're thinking. If your thoughts are mostly negative, try to think of a way to put a positive spin on it. Be open to humor. Look for the humor in everyday things. Let yourself smile or laugh, especially during hard times. Follow a healthy lifestyle. Try to exercise most days. Exercise can make your mood better and reduce stress. Also, follow a healthy diet. Learn the best way for you to manage your stress. Surround yourself with positive people. Make the people in your life positive, supportive people that you can depend on for helpful advice and feedback. Negative people could increase your stress and cause you to doubt yourself. And practice positive self-talk. Don't say anything to yourself that you wouldn't say to a friend. Encourage yourself. When negative thoughts enter your mind, respond with positive things that are good about you. Now let's talk about some stress management. These are 10 signs that you might be stressed. Denial, anger, social withdrawal, anxiety and panic, depression, exhaustion, sleeplessness, irritability, concentration problems, and an increase in health problems. And some tips to help manage your stress. Get to know what community resources there are. So if you're not already enrolled in our program, the Caregiver Support Initiative, we're one good place to start. You could also reach out to the Office of the Aging in your area, and they can direct you to many different agencies and resources in the community that could help you. Same with our program, the Care Navigators are very well informed on what resources are in each of the communities of our counties that we cover, and they can help inform you of what resources there are out there. Get help and support. This is huge. Ask friends and family for help. Also reach out for support. If the stress is overwhelming, you could also talk to your doctor. Use relaxation techniques. There are lots of different ways to relax. Try a few to figure out what works best for you. Some ideas could be visualization, where you picture a place or something that is calm and peaceful, maybe closing your eyes and picturing walking along the beach or hiking in the mountains. Meditation, taking 15 minutes to let go of all stressful thoughts, and there's a lot of good guided meditations available on the internet. And breathing exercises. Slow your breath down, take deep breaths. Exercise, I've said this I think 1,000 times in this presentation, but it can really help with reducing stress and overall health. It can also be in whatever form and whatever length of time you can do it for. So if you really enjoy yoga and stretching, great. If you can only fit 10 minutes in, well, that's better than no minutes in. If you really enjoy dancing, turn up the music and dance around your living room. It doesn't have to be boring, I don't know, walking on the treadmill. If you like being outside, find a nature trail near you where you can go on a short walk. Find time for yourself, take a break and use respite whenever you're able to get out and do something that you enjoy. And educate yourself. As the dementia progresses, new behaviors and challenges will come up. Learn about these and how to manage them. Take care of yourself. This, again, I feel like I keep echoing, but go to your doctor regularly, eat healthy, get enough sleep, make sure you're taking care of yourself so that you can take care of your loved one. And make legal and financial plans. It's important to make these early on so the person with dementia can help make the plans with you and get to say in what they want in their future care. Don't forget about taking care of your own plans as well. Asking for help. Studies show that caregiving compromises caregiver health, and caregivers are more likely to be taking depression and anxiety medication than their peers. However, oftentimes there's reluctance in asking for and accepting help from others to get support. When asked, is there anything you need? Your answer should always be yes. However, when a person asks you to do something that would be draining on you, learn to say no. That could be, your sister saying, hey, do you want to host Thanksgiving again this year? That's going to be too much work. Say no. Or say, sure, we can do it at my house, but it has to be a potluck this year. I can't cook everything. I'll make the turkey, you make the sides. Allowing others to care for your loved one can also give you a break from caregiving. This could be in the form of a friend or family member coming to the house so you can leave, or having the person with dementia go to an adult day program. By having a break in caregiving, it can allow you to regroup and refocus so you can provide the best possible care. So you may be wondering, well, how do I ask for help? When you ask a person, think about what they're interested in or talented in. If you have a friend who loves to cook, then asking her to cook a meal for you once a week might be better received than asking her to drive you to a doctor's appointment. Know the person who you can always count on to say yes because they have a difficult time saying no. Try not to ask that person for help every single time, and that's different people. Think about your timing when asking for help too. You're more likely to be met with resistance and refusal if the person you're asking is currently overwhelmed and stressed. Have a mental or physical list with things you need help with. This way, when someone asks what you need help with, you have some ideas of what to tell them, or even show them the list and let them choose what they would like to do. Be prepared for a person to hesitate or even tell you no. It can be hard to hear that someone doesn't want to help. However, it could do more damage to your relationship if the person was only helping because they felt like they had to. Try not to take it personally and think of it as a person refusing the task rather than turning you down. Make sure the question is not softened when you ask by adding, would you mind, or it's only just a thought. These make the request seem like they aren't that important to you. Make sure you use I statements and make them specific. Support groups are regularly held meetings for people who are currently experiencing a similar illness or a similar situation. However, regular attendance is optional. So, for example, it could be a caregiving support group like we offer. In support group, a person can receive emotional support not only from the facilitator who's running the group, but also from his or her peers who are also attending the meeting. Other caregivers can share strategies and lessons that they have learned from their own caregiving situation or heard from others. Information and resources are often exchanged either by the facilitator or the members in the group. In some cases, there can be specific trainings done as well. So I run support groups. There's one for each county, and right now they're happening all over the telephone or virtually, so people can call in, and it's kind of nice because people can call in at the time that is most convenient for them. They don't have to worry about driving to whatever the location is. And sometimes we'll have a specific topic that we're talking about at the meeting, especially if there's a request from the group. Sometimes we'll have guest speakers, and sometimes I just really let the group lead the conversation in whatever topics that they're needing support from others with. Benefits of a support group. Venting and validating. Support groups can help caregivers feel heard and understood and cared for. You might find that venting is helpful for you, or you may need the caregivers in the meeting to validate your feelings. Other caregivers can understand your frustration. Sharing and comparing. Members in a support group often offer ideas to help each other out. They can share ideas about medication, doctors, and treatments. A person can also ask for specific help or ideas to help with the situation that they're currently dealing with. Uniting and advocating. Attending a support group can help caregivers see that they're not alone. When in a support group, you can hear from others and see that they are too experiencing similar struggles. People within a support group can raise awareness for the condition of their loved one by participating in local walks. Finding community. Support groups allow for a sense of belonging. How to take care of you. Talked about this a bunch, but some tips for healthy eating. Drink plenty of water. As you age, you can begin to lose your sense of thirst. Milk and juice can help you stay hydrated. However, drinking water is often best. Make eating a social event. It's more enjoyable to eat with others. Invite a friend over to eat with you, or go out into the community a couple times a week for your meals. Plan healthy meals. It's important to follow trusted nutrition information. The guidelines for what your meal should look like can be found at choosemyplate.gov, or I do have a handout that I'd be happy to mail to any of you if you are interested in that handout. Watch your portions. Learn how much food you should be eating. If you're eating out, packing part of the meal away could help you with overeating and help provide a meal for later. Vary your veggies. Vegetables can brighten your plate and are a low-calorie source of nutrients. Eat for your teeth and gums. As people age, they tend to find they have difficulty with chewing some fruits, veggies, and meats. Try to opt for softer foods rather than missing out on the nutrients that they can provide. So, for example, eating cooked carrots instead of raw carrots. So you're still getting those nutrition, the nutrition from the vegetables, but it's a little softer on your gums. Use spices and herbs. As a person ages, the sense of taste and smell seem to go away. If you find that things are tasting different, try to change them up by adding different spices and herbs. Keep food safe. Food-related illnesses can be life-threatening to an older person. Throw away food that may no longer be safe to eat. It can be dangerous to eat raw or undercooked foods as well, such as eggs, fish, and meat. Read the nutrition label. Talk to your doctor to find out if there are ingredients or nutrients you may need to stay away from or increase. Looking at labels can help you decide what foods will be best for you. And ask your doctor about vitamins and supplements. Sometimes you're unable to get all your nutrients from your food, which is the preferred way to get them. Talk to your doctor before starting any vitamins or supplements. As always, let your doctor know if you're taking them, as they can interfere with some medications. Exercise. And there's different types of exercise. So endurance, the length of time you do an activity that makes breathing difficult. A person should try to get in 30 minutes of activity a day, most days of the week. But it doesn't have to be done at all one time. You could break it up into 10-minute pieces. So you could take a brisk 10 or 15-minute walk in the morning and again in the afternoon. Strength. It keeps your muscles strong, so you're able to do things on your own for longer. Keeping muscles strong is good for falls prevention. So an example of a strength exercise would be toe raises. And you can do that while sitting or standing. Balance. Try to do things to test your balance. For example, standing on one foot without holding on to anything. And flexibility. You can improve your flexibility by stretching or by You can tie your shoes when you're bending over, look over your shoulder when you're backing out of the driveway. There are simple ways to add some stretches in throughout your day. You should also always check with your doctor before you start exercising. Make sure that you start slowly and build up your activity. Go to the doctor. It seems like now we get only a few minutes to talk to our doctors about how we're feeling. These tips can be used for a new doctor or for one you've been seeing for years. It's also a good idea for any specialist appointments you may have. Make a list and prioritize the things that you would like to talk about. If you're concerned with how your treatment is affecting your daily life, any vaccinations you'd like, or any questions on medications you have, these are good things to add to your list. Bring questions up right away rather than waiting until the end of the appointment. This ensures you have plenty of time to talk about them. Some doctors would like you to bring all of your prescription drugs, over-the-counter medications, vitamins, and herbal remedies or supplements with you, while others would like you to make a list and write down your dosage. Don't forget to bring your insurance cards, names, and numbers of other doctors that you see, and medical records if they weren't sent over from another office. Sometimes it can be helpful to bring a close family member or friend to listen to what the doctor has to tell you as well. Talk to the person going with you about what you would like to learn from the appointment. They can also remind you of things in case you forget to bring them up during the appointment, or even take notes for you. Make sure that you're able to see or hear well during your appointment. This may mean wearing your glasses or hearing aids to the visit. Let the doctor and office staff know if you're having difficulty hearing or seeing and how they can help you. And update your doctor on things that have happened since your last visit. This would include any trips to the emergency room, visits to a specialist, changes in medication. Also mention if you've noticed any changes to your weight, sleeping patterns, appetite, or energy levels. Tips for better sleep. Follow a regular sleep schedule. Go to sleep and get up at the same time each day, even on the weekends. Avoid napping, as this can affect your nighttime sleep. Develop a bedtime routine. Relax before bed every night by reading a book, listening to soothing music, or taking a warm bath. Try not to watch TV or be on your phone or tablet right before bed. The light from these devices can make it difficult to fall asleep. Keep your bedroom at a comfortable temperature, not too hot and not too cold. Use low lighting in the evenings as you get ready for bed. Exercise regularly, but not 3 hours before bed, as this can also make it difficult to go to sleep at night. And avoid eating a large meal before bed, as this can keep you awake at night. Stay away from caffeine late in the day. Coffee, soda, tea, even chocolate has caffeine in it. And alcohol won't help you sleep. Even in small amounts, it may actually make it harder for you to stay asleep at night. Take a break. It's also known as respite. Taking a break can allow you to regroup and connect with your friends, but it could also allow you to take time to do something that's relaxing to you. You could read a book, take a nap, go for a walk, go out and get your hair done, whatever it is that you need. Respite can be done in many ways. Some people choose to have another person come into the home and stay with their loved one. This could be a person from an agency that you're paying for, or a friend or family member. You could also choose to use an adult day program, or in some cases a nursing facility. There are community resources that can help you pay for these options as well. It may be difficult for you to leave your loved one so you can take a break, but it could be good for them as well. Socializing with others can help with mood and behaviors, and taking a break is an important step in taking care of yourself. So that brings me to the end of my presentation. If anyone has any questions, feel free to type them into the Q&A box. We have a few minutes. And while you're doing that, I do want to show you this book. So normally, oh, it's kind of glaring on the light. There we go. So normally when I do this presentation, I always bring a book with me to give out. So the book that goes along with this presentation is Creating Moments of Joy. And it is a wonderful, wonderful resource for caregivers. It's written by Jolene Brackey, and she has a wonderful way of words. It's a nice story about her journey as a caregiver, but it also provides a lot of good information and tips strategies for you to use if you are a caregiver or if you know caregivers and work with them. So if that is something that you are interested in, I would be happy to mail, or if you live in the Clinton County area, drop off this book for you. I can also put together packets with the notes from this presentation and any of the handouts. I know I mentioned I have one about nutrition facts and eating healthy, but I'm also able to share any of the other handouts that I have that I normally bring with me on this when I do this in person. All right, so I'm just gonna wait a few minutes to see if there are any questions. Well, if there are no questions, I just want to thank you all for attending this presentation today. I do want to let you know we have a few upcoming events. So on Wednesday, the 23rd, we're doing a caregiver conference. It is on mindsets and mindfulness with Suzanne Murtha, who's going to be our keynote speaker. And then on October 5th, I am doing another one of these webinars. So if you are interested in either of those or in our support groups, our memory cafes, feel free to contact me. My phone number is 518-564-2049. Again, that's 518-564-2049. And I'm happy to get you set up with that. Oh, okay, there is a question about Project Lifesaver. So yeah, so we offer a service where your loved one would wear a band. It could be worn either around their wrist, around their ankle, and sometimes people will even put stickers on it so it looks like a watch or something to make their loved one more willing to wear it. And that way, if you, let's say you go to the bathroom and you come out and your loved one is gone, or you wake up in the middle of the night and they're wandering around outside, you can't find them, what you would do is look around for your loved one. And then if you are unable to find them, you would call the sheriff's department. And they have a wand that they use that uses radio frequency waves. It's kind of old school, but it's very, very reliable. That's why they still use it. And that would help them locate the person that's missing. It's really an amazing program. It's available nationwide. So if you're on vacation or not in your area, you could call the sheriff's department there. And if that's something you're interested in, feel free to give me a call, or if you're already enrolled in our program, you would call your care navigator for your county, and they could get that set up for you. It's available free of charge for anyone that's enrolled in our program. All right. If there are no other questions, like I said, I want to thank you all for coming to our event today, our virtual programming. If you're interested in any of our other upcoming events, feel free to reach out to me. Otherwise, I hope you all have a great day and enjoy this beautiful fall weather that we have today. Take care. Thank you, everyone.